right, here we go. We're back. WWB episode 65. His name is Jeremy. My name is Dan. We're back for another episode, January 15th. You ready to go?
I am cocked, locked, and ready to rock.
We got a lot going on. We're doing a buy and sell segment today. Second week of the new Raw on Netflix. They meet their demands from the first week. We got some viewership numbers to go over. And did they do all the camera angles for the second week? We're going to talk about that. We got a lot to go over. So we're going to jump right into buy or sell. Jeremy, what we got?
All right, so let's talk about the buy or sell segment here for a second. So there's a lot that's going on in the business right now, and we need to talk about whether we're buying it or not, whether we think it's legitimate. I think it's a really great way.
Are we scooting it out? Are we selling it? Are we selling and going out?
I think it's a great way to go through the rumors of the week, especially it's the beginning of the year. There's a lot going on. Hope springs eternal. Let's jump into it. The first topic I have is, there's been a lot of talk on the internet this week about Gunther. And about things being quiet, about his championship reign. And I have to tell you right off the bat, before I tell you whether I'm going to buy or sell it, I have to tell you that when I read that article, my first thought was, oh my God, he is the champion. I had totally forgotten.
You didn't know he was the champ?
No, I mean, I knew, but I had he'd become entirely irrelevant for months now. And I hadn't even considered it or thought about it at all. So my first thought was, holy crap, he is the champion. And yeah, he hasn't done a damn thing with it. On this one, I'm buying it. I'm buying it 100%. I think so far, his championship reign has been a complete and total sham. Nothing like his Intercontinental Championship.
I think, the problem with the problem that I have with it is that wrong belt, wrong time. You know what I mean?
Too soon?
No, I think his whole run with the United States Championship should have been the World Heavyweight. I mean, the problem is there a difference? We just went. How many days was he United States Champion?
No, it was Intercontinental.
I'm sorry. Yeah. How long?
It was a long time. 200 and something? It was like the longest or the second longest. 220
so the problem
days
is
or something?
You took a belt off and gave him another belt. It's like it's the same storyline. It doesn't really matter. I mean, people they don't care. I mean, it's like it's the same thing.
He won it off Priest, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he won it. Priest had it for 2 months, 3 months, and I thought he was okay. I think they gave it to him. They're trying to rack up some resumes and people past champions.
They're trying to push Judgment Day.
Yeah, I get it, and I thought he was a great champion. I'm a big believer in the championships going from wrestler to wrestler every couple months. This whole you got to have the belt for multi-years. It's just crazy. Back in my day, I'm an attitude guy. I always reference it. I love when The Rock had it, Kurt Angle had it, Stone Cold had it, Chris Jericho, Triple H. It was all about and all in a year. That's what I'm missing. I like having different people, different championships, and different reigns. This whole you got to have it for a year. I think with Gunther, I think people are just tired of it. So I'm buying that it's been a dry run and people are tired of it. It's time to move on, give it to someone else. I know I'm even for getting rid of it.
Wait a minute. You think Gunther should drop the title?
I think he should drop the title before WrestleMania. Make a match. Who's going to wrestle him in WrestleMania where it's going to be interesting? John Cena? Where John Cena wins his belt? I mean, how's it gonna be? Get rid of him, have him lose it to someone, I don't know, Elimination Chamber or something, and set up for a nice match that everyone wants to see at WrestleMania. I mean, or if he's keeping it to WrestleMania, he's keeping it to drop to somebody.
Hey, I mean, he's so good. He could do a barn burner at WrestleMania without a title on the line. He's the kind of guy that doesn't need that. Remember that match him and McIntyre and Sheamus had at WrestleMania a few years ago? That thing was awesome.
You know what he is, Gunther? You know what he reminds me of? And I no pun intended with the size or anything. He reminds me of the Big Show. Okay, he's a great guy causing trouble. Yeah. Maybe with a mid-card belt, but he's not the face of the company. He's not. He shouldn't be carrying the top 2 belt. Okay, he just shouldn't be doing it. He's not that guy. Yeah. He's not that guy.
He's got to do something with it. All right.
So I'm buying that.
Moving on. I put my ear to the ground this week, and I heard some rumblings that perhaps the Shield would return at Royal Rumble to eliminate CM Punk. Now, we both know that the Shield won't be complete. John Mox is over at AEW. But could you see a situation in which Seth Rollins somehow combines or tags up with Roman Reigns in the Royal Rumble specifically to eliminate CM Punk? Does that story make sense?
I'm selling this. If it's not complete, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in the two-person.
Oh, the Shield, you mean?
I'm not interested. What's the point here, Jeremy? Why would we?
They did it last year, right?
And
everyone.
I mean, Seth Rollins came out once by himself with the music, and got, like, I get that back then it was great for the 15-second jump of everyone going up, going wow. But like, come on, if Jon Moxley's not in, then why do we care about the Shield? The Shield consists of 3 people. It never consisted of 1 or 2. It was 3 guys the whole time. Move on. I'm selling that. I don't even know what reference it would be in the storylines.
I think it would be bad business for him to do it. I think it's cheap pop. You're trying to get cheap. It's not going to work. He's going to try to win over the crowd. If you see that, that's going to be like a serious sign that it's going to be a bad Rumble. Because if that's the big surprise, that the 2/3 of the Shield returns, that's a problem for the rest of the show. I'm with you 100% on that. Okay. So, not sure if you saw the match or highlights from it last week. Jericho had a particularly painful match last week. It looked really, really bad. And calls for him to retire have really grown significantly. This is, every time he has a bad match, there's calls for him to retire. This one is probably the strongest call for Jericho's retirement so far, at least. So, what do you think? Is it time for Chris Jericho to hang up the boots?
I'm selling this. I'm selling it.
No, he should stay.
No, I think Chris Jericho, he's 54 years old, right? He's gone through WWE for 20-something years, and AEW the last how long has it been now? 6?
He's been there. He was the first champion.
But how long AEW? We've hit the 5-year mark, right? What are we in the 6th year now?
Yeah, we're in the 6th year, so 5+ years.
Jericho wrestling. I think it's time to drop the solo matches. I think it's time to drop him being the champion. Those days are done. Okay, I think where we're at right now is we need to start getting into it's time to start making Jericho a secondary character in the storylines. Okay, a supporting role, maybe the face of a heel group that he can help support his other guys. But the days of him being the main guy, I think should stop. Now, am I buying that he should just retire and be done? No. I think he has a lot of things that he can still do for the next couple of years. Maybe a little tag team run or something like that. I'm selling full-out retirement, but I do think there needs to be a little bit of a step back.
So you think that some sort of the learning tree gimmick that they're working now, where it's almost like a small stable or a development type thing, minus, take the Ring of Honor championship off of him. None of that crap.
The guy doesn't need to be the Ring of Honor champion. Come on. Can we not find anyone more that's better talented, younger, that's more athletic to be the champion? Come on. I get face value. He makes it look good, but come on.
You could find just about anybody. All right, moving on. So 2025 is supposed to be a really big year. Alexa Bliss's return is all but guaranteed. They're even talking about concept designs for merchandise and stuff, so that's almost guaranteed. But my question to you is, Malachi Black is set to be released this year from AEW, and apparently everyone's really happy to see him gone. And with Penta's premiere on WWE, his brother, Rey Fenix, cheering him on from X, everybody wonders if Rey Fenix is going to be the next one to move over with Penta. My question to you, what does the future hold for Malachi Black and Rey Fenix specifically?
Well, why wouldn't they sign him? You look at the history of people that have gone to AEW. We've talked about this before, and I think there's something to it. Sometimes you got to leave the company to make your identity. And to come back, you get buried, and it works not just WWE. It's that way in AEW. I think there's a lot of people who could leave WWE right now and go to AEW, become a superstar, and come back. I think there's a lot of people that could leave AEW, go to WWE, become something, go back to AEW. Okay. There's something to that.
But Black didn't follow the Cody Rhodes
model.
No,
he's not as successful. No,
he's not nearly as successful. He didn't build a company. It wasn't his, and from the way that it sounds, everybody hates him at AEW. So we're happy to see him gone.
I think that formula works. I don't think Black has it. Okay. So Black left WWE. I think he requested his release, if I'm not mistaken. A couple years ago, he requested to be released from WWE to go to AEW. It obviously didn't turn out there. How many years did he do in AEW? 2?
It's been 2 or 3.
So obviously it didn't go well there. He wrestled up to the last show. It's not like they had him on the back burner. He wasn't doing it. He was wrestling. I think where Black needs to go is he needs to go to TNA. I think he needs to put himself a organization, a promotion that's going to make him the top guy, where he can go and create his character, make something of himself, and go back to WWE. I don't think he was able to do it with AEW. They got so much talent in AEW. I think TNA is where he needs to go. He can battle with Nick Namath now and maybe do a little title battle.
There's plenty of guys to work with.
There's a lot of things he could do at TNA. Get himself an identity, go back to WWE.
Okay.
If they want him. Who knows? What do you think? You think he's...
I think he's probably destined to go back to WWE, but I think he's going to get buried. He won't be successful. Yeah. I don't see him going to TNA. I think he's a little too big for that pond. He's not over the hill. A lot of the guys that do well in TNA are either up and coming or they're kind of over the hill. You know, they've kind of already been to the top of the mountain. They're the nicknamists and guys like that. They do really well. You know, but I don't think somebody that's sort of mid-career right now should be hitting his stride. I don't think TNA is the right place to go when you've already been to WWE and AEW. Okay, big news this week, big update on Vince McMahon. He settled with the SEC, $400,000 fine, and $1.3 million back to WWE. Please be sure to check out our video, which should already be posted by now. Check out my video. I did a quick take on that with all the details. We won't get into it here. Also, criminal charges appear to have been basically settled, or I don't know what the term is, not on the table anymore, for lack of a better term. So now what people are saying is that he has created an entertainment company, a non-professional wrestling-related entertainment company, that he actually is employing people right now behind the scenes that are working to produce and develop this type of content. So my question to you, non-professional wrestling content from Vince McMahon, are you buying that? Are you buying that he's going to be the kind of guy that's going to do something outside of the world of professional wrestling? I mean, that's his life.
Oh, I'm buying it.
Okay, so if you're buying it, what is he doing? What could he possibly do?
Well, first off, he's in this day and age, money talks. And Vince has money. And when you're looking at production deals and you're looking at someone who's trying to get a story, from what I read, he's doing a entertainment media company pretty much financing and developing screenplays and rather TV shows, movies, or whatever. They're looking for that. People right now...
Streaming content?
I'm not even sure streaming. I bet you he's financing movie deals. He's going to finance movies. He's going to put together, he's going to take scripts, finance them, and make sure those scripts go to movies, and he's going to get a big payday out of it. I mean, look, in this world, to make money, you almost got to have money, and when people who have money, it makes more money. So Vince is going to back a couple TV deals or a couple movie deals, and he's going to help get them going, and then he's just going to reap the benefits of when they get released. And look, you got the greatest movie in the world. Do you know who backs those movies? You know?
Oh, you
never know. You never know.
It's some production.
You never know. That's what I'm saying. There'll be some production. There'll be some heat that he announces it. Blah blah blah. And after a couple months, people forget that company's name that's at the end of the movie is owned by Vince McMahon. They won't care. And you know what? And the actors who are getting paid to have their project go to work, they're not going to care either.
I think you and I are going to know though. He's the kind of guy that can't help.
Real people will know.
What I mean is he can't help but call it Titan Productions or some obvious homage, some hat tip to himself from the past. You know, he just can't help himself. That's how he is. Yep, I believe it. Although I do have a hard time the idea that okay, it's non-professional wrestling related. Is he going to produce movies and documentaries about professional wrestling?
Well, that could be.
I have a hard time believing
maybe that's what it is. Or this could be just be another wrestling type storyline where they're just lying and he really is creating a promotion.
But I think it is safe to say in 2025, hat tip to Matt out there, he did say that Vince McMahon would come back this year with something, and it looks.
I want to step further and say he'd be on WWE television.
Yeah, that is a hell of a prediction right there.
Hey, I think it's a step. Hey, technically, charges got dropped. So I don't know.
He's not totally
in the eyes of WWE and TKO. That might be now he's. Nothing criminal happened, apparently, so maybe that's okay to be on television now. You never know. In this world, you never say never when it comes to pro wrestling. All right, Jeremy, I'm steamed about another situation. Call this a hot take for this episode.
Okay.
I'm watching Raw, and I'm tired of the matches that just don't have any meaning. What's going on? I said it before, and I'm always going to say it. Make a checklist of how many times I say it throughout the year. Whatever, number, whatever. I'm an attitude guy. And I remember back in the day, rather it was William Regal or Christian or Scotty 2 Hotty, they were always in the ring with some kind of storyline as to why. I turned on SmackDown. It was SmackDown that got me all fired up. I turned on SmackDown, and there's this tag match going on. I couldn't even tell you who the wrestlers in the match were. There was just no storyline to it. They didn't have anything going on backstage. There wasn't anything going on after the match. When it wasn't anything that developed. Like, when did we get into where this? Maybe this is the kind of wrestling fan that I am, but I remember I was watching it. I was in the store Monday. Mike was watching SmackDown, and I'm like, I'd be bored to hell right now, just sitting here in the stands watching this stupid match that I have no idea what's going on or what the purpose of it is. I don't get it. I just like there's nothing going on. Like, I go, what is it?
Well, and here's what's going to surprise you. So, everyone was a little on edge this week after Raw because Penta's premiere took a little bit longer, and so they ended up cutting some stuff. So I'm wondering, like, when you look at the product that was on the screen this past week, and only 2/5 of it only 2/5 of the matches actually had any story behind it, that really makes you wonder, what did they consider crap that had to get cut so that Penta could do his promo and stuff like that afterwards? What got cut? The only 2 matches on Monday night that made any sense story-wise was the Lyra Valkyria Chelsea Green match, which was for the Women's U.S. Championship, and the main event, which was basically, Judgment Day's official death, right? Like, all the rest of it, I mean, even the Penta match and the Gable match, as great as it was, there was no story behind that.
No.
There was no work that was done behind it.
No.
The Miz came back and wrestled this past week. Oh, wow, holy crap. He's involved in a story? No, he's not. Yeah, I mean, it was the same thing the first week, but we gave him a pass, right?
Yeah.
We said, oh, it's the first week back. They're clearly doing a reset, da-da-da-da-da. And here we are, 35% of the show is story, and the rest of it is all filler and matches that don't.
But if you
don't work towards anything,
go back and watch a Raw from years ago or SmackDown. Even people like Test and Big Boss Man, the nobodies back then really ever. They had storylines, and they had storylines that have been developing over weeks and months. And like you had these little three-tier or C wrestlers wrestling, and they had legitimate storylines. Now you just have people coming out and doing what are we just? I mean, and I said to myself, and I said to Mike, I go, I'm not sure I'm a guy that wants to go to a show, and we were just talking about this a few minutes ago, just to watch the wrestling. I want a story. Like, and I saw like 3 matches in a row on SmackDown, and I saw no story involved.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I'd be very mad right now if I'm going to this show just to watch the wrestling. But that's just me.
I just don't know what's so hard. Like, you could slap together. I mean, you had, 30 seconds of Chad Gable calling out any lucha. Like, he could have at least taken an extra 30 seconds to, like, do something. Like, do something, or even like on Twitter or something, like call out Penta or something like that, or at least make fun of his mama or something, like make something out of it, at least give somebody a reason to fight. I mean, because again, now you walk into this match and you immediately know, yeah, okay, Penta's going over.
Right.
Like, there's not even any good surprise to it at all. So,
well, I mean, that's my hot take for this week. Let us know down below. Is wrestling more worried about the storytelling or wrestling? What do you like more? Let us know. Comment down below.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for This Week in Wrestling History.
Well, you really got that down.
Was that pretty good? Was that pretty good? All right. I've been practicing that in the mirror. All right, so this week, this is the third week in January, we'd call this in wrestling history. 3 interesting things to note, 2 of which are actually considered local. The first one, in 1971, Bruno Sammartino's historic 2,803-day reign as WWF champion came to an end.
Today?
That was January 18th.
Oh, okay. So this week.
So today.
The one that they talk about all the time when they compare it to Roman Reigns.
It ended this week in 1971. Pretty insane. Number 2, giving some Albany some love again. There's a lot of love for Albany here. In 1992, the Knickerbocker Arena hosted what was considered the greatest Royal Rumble match ever by fans when Ric Flair won the vacant title. It was the first
Another great moment.
It was the first time that the title was up for grabs as a prize for winning the Rumble, and Ric Flair went over. At the time, he was supposed to really show off his endurance or whatever, and he stayed in. He was the third entrant. He stayed in for 59 minutes, which at the time was a record. So that is very cool. And then, of course, 1988, the first Royal Rumble took place with 20 participants, which was won by Glens Falls hometown boy himself,
Jim Saw Hackett or whatever his name is.
Jim Saw Hackett. That's right. Hacksaw Jim Duggan went over winning the first Royal Rumble before you or I were born, when we were just twinkles in our daddy's eyes. So more love for the local Glens Falls, Albany, Saratoga area. Let's talk about birthdays this week. Celebrating birthdays this week. I'm gonna give you the wrestler, and you tell me how old they're turning. All right? Let's make this fun. All right. This week, Dave Bautista has a birthday. How old is Dave Bautista turning this
52.
week? 52. He is going to be 56.
Oh, goddamn!
This week. Okay, Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man.
The father or the son?
The father, Ted, the $1 Million Man.
Well, there's two of them, really.
Well, yeah, but only one of them's the $1 Million Man.
Well, the other one's in the Slammer.
Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. How old is he turning this year?
82.
He is 71.
Jeez, that's way off. On
82. Yeah, what the hell? Okay, Carl Anderson. Carl Anderson.
64.
He's 45. Do you not know who we're talking about?
I'm thinking of it. I'm
thinking of Arn Anderson?
I'm thinking of Arn Anderson. Well, wow, way off on that one.
Yeah, I think you're off on Arn Anderson too, pretty far, but I'll give you a pass on this one. Here's a fun one. R-Truth. R-Truth.
R-Truth.
How old is R-Truth this week?
53.
He is 53 this week.
God, got one right.
Good.
God, damn,
Dead
there
on.
we go.
All right, last one. Jay Briscoe.
But all these people have birthdays this week or today?
This week.
Oh.
The third week in January. This week, Jay Briscoe is turning. He does not look this old, let me tell you that right now.
41.
He is 39. Not bad. Not a bad finish. Not a bad finish this week. So, happy birthday to all the wrestlers, retired and still performing. Hey, if your birthday's coming up this week, let us know down below in the comment section. Thanks a heck of a lot.
All right, Jeremy, let's talk about Raw. Second week on Netflix. Talked a little bit about it throughout the show. Let's get into details. 4.9 million viewers they reached. I saw those numbers. I wasn't really all that thrilled.
You know, they were pulling 3.2, 3.1. I mean, on a really bad week, they'd be 2.7. I'm sorry, I'm mixing them up with SmackDown. They in the two highs consistently, right. 2.5 to 2.8.
I mean, even on SmackDown, they were doing 3.1.
I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. 4.9 is a huge improvement over, let's just say, 2.8 or 3. But when you look at the expanded audience base that they had, I mean, they went from, how many people have cable? I looked it up last year. 60 million or something.
Before we go, because I looked it up, I want to make sure I had the exact numbers. It's been updated. Now, it's been updated from Netflix. 5.9 million.
Okay, so a million people
for the week ending January 12th. That's up from 4.9.
So a million people went in and watched it after the fact. But 4.9 watched it.
So I want to make sure here's how Netflix counts their viewership. Netflix counts viewership numbers by taking the total number of hours watched, 17.7 million in this case, and dividing it by the show's runtime, 3 hours. That's how they determine their viewership.
So they assume everybody watches the show start to finish, no questions asked. Now
so obviously, 5.9 is obviously up from, what we talked about on Raw, which is probably, what was it on Raw? I mean, it got down to like a couple times, 1.2, 1.3.
That's they'd have to be up against like a playoff game or something like that for that to happen, or the NBA Finals or something. I would think.
It was low for a little bit.
I mean, that's very low. That's definitely not a recent number.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to see if I can pull up a whole list of past.
I mean, I guess again, it's very impressive. It's good. It's the highest rated wrestling program, if that's true. It's the highest rated wrestling program in a very long time. But again, when you look at the fact that they went from, basically their audience base being 50 or 60 million people that had cable to everyone in the United States, because everyone.
All right, so I'm looking at Raw's viewership right now. This includes all of 2024. There is nothing higher than a 1.8.
I'm sorry, I was saying 2.8, but what I meant was 1.8.
The home show, the show after WrestleMania scored a 2.3 on USA Network. That was April That was April 8th, 2024. So you figure the average is about 1.6, 1.5. They were averaging on USA Network. To go up to 5.9, I guess that's a pretty big jump. Now the question is, what do the ratings look like this week?
Yeah.
Obviously, number one show on Netflix. Everyone's watching. You had John Cena. You had The Rock. You had three of the best, probably the best matches maybe of the year that they've been advertising, that they just did it on Netflix for some reason. I mean, Seth Rollins and CM Punk should have been a WrestleMania match, and they did that on Netflix. I get it. I get the show, and they want to promote it and that, this and that, but like that's a pretty big match to do it on Netflix. But they got 5.9 viewers, so let's see how that holds up compared to this week.
And I also don't buy this. I think we did a buy or sell segment earlier. I'm not buying this. Oh, we're just going to take the total number of hours watched and divide it. Okay? This is what you're going to tell your advertisers when they're buying ad space for different commercial slots in your show, that I don't really know who's watching, in hour 2 or hour 3 or hour. I don't really know. It's all the same. The same 4.9 million people are watching at the end. I don't buy that at all. I think that they have extremely detailed numbers. They're just choosing not to release it, which is a wall that both Netflix and WWE are going to be able to conveniently hide behind.
But I will say, WWE kept up with the way the show was produced first week.
So week 2.
The lighting looked the same. The angles looked the same.
I love the drone footage at the beginning. Yep. That's a great way to open. I'm not thrilled with the commentary booth, but that's my personal opinion. I understand that Mr. Pat Mack has some fans out there, and
I'm not some fans, baby.
I'm not a big Michael Cole fan either, and I think the two of them together are just nails on a chalkboard for me. Michael Cole's supposed to be on play-by-play, and he's been doing very little play-by-play call. I think half the time because he doesn't know what the moves are called, so he can't call it, especially in highly technical matches like the Gable Penta match this week. But
shots taken there.
It's just that, like, I don't even mean it in a negative way, because Michael Cole does kind of have my respect. He's been with the WWE since 1997, and he's highly accomplished. He's covered for the news like a gajillion different things in his life, so I actually have a little respect for him. I just don't know if professional wrestling's the right spot for him. I think he's making it work, and he does generally a pretty good job overall when it comes to like product support and just like being a company man and being behind it, but like he should not be on play-by-play. Like, if you don't know the moves, you shouldn't be on play-by-play. Like, you would agree with that with any sport? Like, if you don't know what a Wildcat offense is, you shouldn't be doing play-by-play for an NFL game.
Look, I think Michael Cole knows what he's talking about. He might not know the moves, and I think it's best to get away from that, to be honest with you, all the talk about the moves and all that. But Michael Cole knows.
He's not even calling the high spots, though.
Michael Cole is Michael Cole, Jeremy. Come on.
He's not calling the high spots.
Michael Cole is Michael Cole.
Is Michael Cole better or worse than JR?
Oh, JR is the best, for sure.
And he was on play-by-play.
No one can beat
the
JR.
whole time. He was on play-by-play.
No one can beat JR. Then Michael Cole can't obviously beat. So Michael Cole's the second.
I'm not saying he's going to ever beat JR, but I'm saying that
no one's ever going to beat JR.
You cannot.
Oh my God, Kane! Look at them! Look at them corners in the ring! Oh my God!
By God is my witness. He has been cut in half.
Business is about to pick up. Holy!
You can do. He's tougher than a $2 steak, right? You can. Again, I think.
Oh my God! Oh my
God! He has my respect. He does not have my support for being a professional wrestling commentator, especially on play-by-play.
Backlash 2000. Stone Cold! Stone Cold! Stone Cold! He said it 3 times in a row, and when Stone Cold came down and chair shot the whole McMahon-Helmsley faction. Stone Cold! Stone Cold! Stone Cold!
We need to do a best of JR. We need to put together a best of JR.
King's my favorite, too. That high-pitched King with throwing in with JR. You're never going to get better commentary than those two during the Attitude. You're just not going to get it.
Come on, JR! Okay, anyways. And we did mention it earlier, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Why are they trying to stick so strictly to the schedule that stuff is getting cut from the show when they're on Netflix? One of the benefits of being on Netflix is the flexibility of the length.
I think there's something to producing a show, and I think they want to have it timed out. I think in this day and age, especially when it comes to SmackDown and Raw and WWE program in general, they have it timed minute by minute by minute. And I think they know going in this is what we want to end. We have a 2.5-hour show scripted out with commercials ready to go. This is what we want.
And Triple H doesn't want it to be a 3-hour show. He's always talked against that. So anything he can do to cut that down.
Now, what I see, to me, I shouldn't. I'm not worried so much about when they go off air, more than why are they trying to follow a set time. Like, they want to have only a 2-hour show. Have a 2-hour show. If you want to have a 3-hour show, have a 3-hour show. Like, you can dictate what you want to do.
I'm sure they have content requirements.
Now, it gets a little bit dicey when you have people who are buying tickets in there. When you show up to Raw, and all of a sudden you have a 2-hour show, when everyone else in the past couple weeks have had a 3-hour show, I'd be saying, where's a third of my money back? So I mean, you got to be careful a little bit of that. I think that's really not so much that when to go off air. You got to make sure you're providing content to people who are watching.
I don't want to. This is related to that sort of indirectly, but this week reports came out that AEW on Max is actually going to go commercial free going forward. So they are going to keep a camera rolling. It's not going to be picture-in-picture or anything. You're going to be able to see what's going on. And then even during segments where, like, there's literally nothing going on. Well, because I think one of the reasons why you want to keep that going is because you did it when you were on the air. They would go to picture-in-picture. So when a match was going on and they go to commercial break, you'd still at least be able to see what was going on, and they would be able to continue the match. But, I mean, you're not doing commercials on Max, so it just makes sense, like. Unless more revenue is coming in through that, which there really isn't, then you should cut it.
I'm sorry. I just think they do everything wrong over there. I really do.
You think they should have? You think
it's too
TNT
much?
Should be showing
too much. Again, they're trying to do that. It's too much.
Wait. Just answer the question. Should they or should they not have commercials on Max?
They should have commercials.
Why?
So they can give the wrestlers a break, get reset. But they're not. They're trying to do too much. You have people who are going out there. They don't even know.
It's not any different than Raw, dude. It's the same thing. It's okay. That'll be a ring the bell for future.
Anything else in that?
Oh no, I'm all set, thank you.
So you happy? Are you happy with the second episode of Raw?
I mean, it's okay. I mean, it was exactly what I expected, and they should have more story. But we already covered that.
All right, let us know what you think about Raw Week 2 on Netflix. Did it meet your expectations heading into a second week after the main one? Comment down below.
And let us know, what are the ratings going to be this week? How far are they going to drop? Can we get a prediction out of you?
3.2.
3.5.
Okay, so we're right in the same ballpark.
Yeah, I think that it's gonna be very noticeable.
All right. Let us know down below. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button right down below. All right, Jeremy, the main event for tonight. Corey Graves making some news in the world of WWE. Obviously, we just mentioned it a minute ago on our Raw segment. Pat McAfee is back, hosting with Michael Cole. Whether you like the team or not, I like him. I think Pat McAfee draws attention. He has the Pat McAfee show. He does a lot of other things, obviously. College Game Day. He's all over entertainment these days, and I think he brings an excitement to wrestling that hasn't been shown before on the comedy side, on the commentary side. So I'm all for it. The problem now is the roster of commentators you have, right? You have Wade Barrett.
It's crowded now.
Joe, what's his last name?
Booker T.
What's the other guy? Joe Telestore or something like that. Who works for ESPN as well, I pretty much believe. But he's with Wade Barrett. Those two are going very well together. You have NXT with Booker T, and who's the other guy? Who's the main guy there? I forget his name.
Because they've shuffled, right? Graves spent a
Isn't it Vic something? Vic?
Yeah.
I forget his last name. So Corey Graves is with Michael Cole. Now Corey Graves has been moved him around a little bit. He was the lead guy on SmackDown for a bit.
Yep.
And then, that Joe comes in. Who WWE paying big bucks for, I gotta believe. So now Corey getting shuffled around. Went to Raw for a little bit with Michael Cole, or he went to SmackDown with Michael Cole, and then Pat McAfee comes back, and now
Cole gets moved out.
Cole goes to Raw with Pat McAfee, and now Corey's out on the outs, and goes to NXT last week. Does a 3-man booth with Booker T and Vic, and now you got. He went on X a little bit and voiced some concerns and made a comment about how he is not pleased with the roster change and that he doesn't have a celebrity profile. So he put all the work in and unfortunately is demoted because he doesn't have the reputation and the celebrity status of others. So
work or shoot.
I don't know. he wasn't on. He made a comment that he has a lot to say in NXT, and apparently he was booted off of that. So we're not gonna see him in NXT. They replace him. They replace him on Speed, so he's not doing commentary on Speed, which he's done from the beginning, I believe.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there might be some tension there with WWE officials and Corey Graves.
I don't know. I'm getting my spidey senses are tingling. This kind of feels like a work to me. I mean, how many times? Let's say that there actually is heat, like real heat. Are you going to announce to the world on X, well, I'm going to talk about this live on air on NXT tonight? Like, I just, to me, that just screams work. Like, that just screams. And yeah, okay, they didn't end up putting him on air. They didn't follow through. There's any one of a gajillion reasons why that might have happened. But if you actually have heat with somebody in the business, you're not going to announce that you're going to air that dirty laundry out. You know, he knows the business. He wrestled. He's been on commentary for like a decade now. He's been doing it. I mean, it's a long time. Like, he knows how the business works. This is not, and he's a company man. Straightforward. Like, he's been with them. He's taken care of them. They've taken care of him. You know, it's like any long-term relationship. Good stuff happens, bad stuff happens along the line or whatever. But I have a hard time believing that this guy is some jilted ex-performer that holds some kind of malice over being bumped to the sidelines for something.
So I want to read word for word what he said. Imagine chasing your dream, then being told, not deciding, that you're no longer physically able to pursue your dream, and then you dedicate your life to something dream adjacent and being pretty fucking awesome at it. And then, when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, being told that you're not famous enough for your own job, just in case you've wondered where I've been. I think it's a shoot. I think he's upset. I think, the reality is this. The reality is you got to know your value. Pat McAfee has a lot of value. Corey Graves has a lot of value. Unfortunately, when you put the two and two together...
Yeah, they don't compare to each other.
Unfortunately, Corey Graves is not Pat McAfee. Corey Graves is not Michael Cole. Corey Graves, I do believe, is probably the third best one there. So when you look at Vic...
So he should be leading SmackDown.
Joe Telstor, whatever it is. I can't say his last name. I don't know what the hell it is. It's on the tip of my tongue. But Cassator. There we go. What?
C.
That's what I said. Isn't that what I said? T?
Sounded like you said T.
Cassador? Tessator. Oh, thank you, Steve. So when you have Joe over there, so I can say his name. When you have
Joey T.
You got Joey T over there on SmackDown now, who come. Like, I don't think that's necessary. I think that is a very much they're trying to make it a professional sport commentary. I think Corey Graves has done his time. I don't agree with the benching of Corey Graves. However, you got to look at reality. It's what happens now, and he's been benched. I think it's a shoot. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm Corey Graves, where you go? Where you go? What do you do right now? I want to get fired so I can go over in AEW and become the number one commentary over there, and he will. He will become one of the number one guys over in AEW.
I'm not sure how well he'd do over there.
Him or Taz? Who you want to listen to?
Taz over him? Yeah, Taz.
You rather listen to Taz over Corey Graves?
Oh, you're gonna Tony Schiavone?
Gone. Can't stand him.
Okay,
yeah. JR
gone. Well, JR is gone. I mean, he comes back.
Gone.
He comes back every once in a while, but I mean, Tony Schiavone. Excalibur.
Gone.
Probably the greatest play-by-play working today.
Oh my God.
Okay.
You know what? You're so AEW.
You don't even watch AEW.
I watch enough to know what stinks. Okay.
Listen, and you think Excalibur's commentary stinks?
Mm-hmm.
It's outstanding. It's the best play-by-play in the business right now.
You gotta know when your time is up, and Taz's time is up.
Well, I'm not saying anything. What I am saying is, I think that this is at work. I think Corey Graves is either going to take some time off, or they're trying to work some angle with Pat McAfee, or something. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Steve.
Do you think he's looking for him? You think they're putting together some kind? I know what
he's going out on a break or something.
I didn't like this whole Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler battle at WrestleMania, where that was stupid. It was way too much. Are we doing that again, Jeremy? I can't do that again.
I don't know that they're well. I don't know. Steve, you said that he had just recently been cleared for wrestling, right? That's what I heard. Corey Graves. So has Steve heard that Corey Graves was cleared? Now, is it going to be anything like Lawler and Cole? No, it's going to be nothing like it because Pat McAfee can't seem to stay in the ring for more than 5 seconds. I mean, you saw him. Was it the Rumble last year? Or no, it was WrestleMania. He showed up and then immediately got bumped. So, I mean, I think that you could work an angle that way, or you could just be like, yeah, I need to go out on a little break. I'm going to step away for a little while, create a little controversy before I go, and then I'm going to reappear after WrestleMania or something like that.
So before we end this, let me just give you a quick update on where it is. He posted on X that I have a lot to say. Don't miss WWE NXT tonight on the CW network. Unfortunately, he didn't make it to the broadcast. There's reports of him leaving the Orlando airport with security, so it looks like he didn't make it to the show. He was replaced on Speed, so he did not tape. He did not do a taping on Speed. And just updated within the last couple hours, Corey Graves has deleted his post from Monday and Tuesday on X. It's unclear whether this is part of a storyline or a directive from WWE. So that's what the current rumor sheets are saying right now. So I don't think it's a work. I think it's a shoot. I think he's legitimately upset. I would be too. But you know what? It is what it is. You don't say no to Pat McAfee. Sorry. You don't say no. I mean, maybe to Joey T.
No, but you give Corey another spot. Like the fact that he's just floating in nothingness now.
Right. You don't make him a third wheel on NXT.
It's just so weird.
He should be doing SmackDown.
Unless he did something to piss somebody off. And that'll come out in the wash, I bet, on a long enough timeline.
Yep. All right, Jeremy, another episode in the books. Episode 65 done. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, and make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe right here on YouTube. Wrestling with a Business. Until next week. Yeah! What are you going to do? You going to do it better? Do it better. Yeah! That's better.